And let's get rid of that. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our live stream this evening. We've got a fantastic one this evening. It is all about women in motorbiking. And with that, we've got three fantastic guests with us tonight. All are willing and able to come and join us tonight. And of course, all of them are motorbikers, which is fantastic. Now, as I did last week, I'm going to bring them in alphabetical order. Otherwise, it's favoritism. So we'll start with... my mind has gone. You know what? I'm going to do it in the order that's here. We'll start with Kay, Sonic, because it's first one in the list. Hello, Kay.
Hello.
Hello. How are you? You all right?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Are you?
Very well indeed. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good.
Next up on our panel, I'm going to call you a panel. It's like loose women, but better looking. We have Laura.
Hello.
Hello, Laura. How are you? You all right?
I'm good. Are you?
Very well. Thank you very much for joining us. And last but by no means least, we have Zainab. Hello, Zainab. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Very well. You're all so polite. It's fantastic. Look at that. Right, so thank you very much for joining us. Of course, tonight we have a bit of a discussion. It seems to be on the tip of the tongue of everyone.
We can't see you, James. Sorry.
You can't see me?
No.
Oh. Bear with me 1 second. That's interesting. Let me see if I can change that. Technical difficulties. Please bear with us.
It all worked before.
Am I there? Can you see me now?
I can see the swirling wheel of death. Nope.
That's not good. That is not good at all. That is... Oh, I've just kicked myself off. Look at that. Do you know what? I will work out what to do in the back.
Yeah. Oh.
Looks like he's
going so well. It was all going so well.
It was all going so well. So, well, why don't we all wait for James to log back in? But for those who have logged in on the live stream, please do bear with us while we go through some technical resolutions.
There we go. Right, can you hear me at least?
Yes,
we can hear you.
You can hear me, right? Okay, I will work on it in the background how to get this camera working. God knows what's going on with it, but it's okay because, as I say, you girls are far better looking than me. We'll start with that. So, right, there is the first thing I want to start with. I've done a bit of research in the background. I've been looking at what kind of problems there may be faced by female riders. Now, there was lots and lots of surveys and lots of information online. But this one kind of got me, and I'd be interested to hear, and we can go one by one if you like. We can go through and see what people think about this particular statement. So 2/3 of female motorbike riders say bike design isn't always female friendly. Of that, 36% are struggling to find the right fit. They say the biggest problem is the seat height. 24% say that it's the actual bike height. 26% say it's the bike weight, and 14% say it's due to the distance to the handlebars. Now, that is just literally an initial kind of clip, if you like, of what I saw there. What's your initial thoughts on when you're choosing a bike and what's available out there? Kay, we'll start with yourself.
For me, yeah, height. I'm short, so for me, yeah, the height thing is a massive thing. Hence the reason I went for the bike that I went for, which is a Honda Rebel. The seat height, obviously, for me, again, I think it just goes on the bike height. So,
Yes.
But yeah, I haven't had any issues with regards to handlebars being too far away or anything. I don't know if I've got like a short body and long arms. I don't know. But yeah, height for me is a massive thing.
Okay.
I can't touch the floor on a lot of bikes.
No, and it seems to be the common thing with a lot of bikes. There is that perception, especially if you look at some of the, I don't know, the adventure bikes, the off-road bikes, that you need the height. I don't personally see that. I mean, some of the bikes that are lower, I think they are far better myself, for turning in corners and whatever. But Laura, what about yourself? How are you getting on with bikes? What have you got at the moment?
I'm really lucky. I've got a CBR 600RR.
Okay.
I say lucky because I'm 5'7", so I don't have that same struggle. So it made my life a lot easier when, looking at bikes. I mean, I knew what I wanted anyway, so I was just like, with the height thing, it wasn't an issue.
Mm-hmm.
But I know and speak to a lot of female riders who do have the struggle. If they're a little bit on the shorter side, then it does limit their bike choice, or they have to pay for adjustments and things like that, which is obviously you know, we all know it can be a costly hobby anyway, you know, and you're not going to keep the same bike for years. You know, we all like to chop and change. So
Absolutely.
it's that cost every time, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And sorry, what was it you ride at the moment? It's the CBR 600, isn't it?
600 RR, yeah.
Yeah. And how'd you find it?
I love it.
It's a great bike.
I absolutely love it.
Zainab, what about yourself? What's your initial thoughts?
Well, I envy Laura. Honestly, I envy Laura.
Sorry.
I am 4'11", so an inch and a half shorter, and I would have been officially a dwarf. So that says a lot. In the 8 years that I've been riding, mostly every single one of my bikes has caused me grief. I've had 9 bikes in total. I think I'm on my 9th or
Wow.
my 10th. I can't remember which one. I've lost a lot of money on mostly every single one of my bikes, because for me, when we get the seat height right, the handlebars are too far. If the handlebars are sort of okay, the tank is too big, and it's not just for me, it's not just my height. I'm also quite chubby from my stomach area, because I have something what's known as diastasis recti, and that's basically ab separation. So all of my organs are being pushed forward, and it looks like I've got a constant pregnant belly. So it looks like I'm
Wow.
pregnant all the time, and until I don't go for surgery, I'm never going to get that skinny body. So for me, it's not just looking at the height of the bike or the seat height, but it's also how big is that tank? Can I actually lean over? Will my arms, which are quite short, actually reach the handlebars? And as I've explained to you before, James, that when you buy a bike, when you go to the showroom, yeah, it's okay getting on a bike and sitting on it and moving it around to see whether or not you can lift it and lift it down and so on. But until you're physically riding on the roads, and we all know what the UK roads are like, forget the potholes, but none of the roads are, even, and they're certainly not going to be level, that's for sure.
No.
Until I'm not on the road, I actually don't know whether I'm going to be able to put my foot down or not. So it's a trial and error. So mostly every single one of the bikes I've had to cut the seat height. When I say cut the seat height, I've had to chop the seat off to its bare minimum and have like a really thin layer of foam, which if other people have done that, you'll know how uncomfortable it is on long rides. I've had to drop the seat height, so I've had to make the seat go lower. And with certain bikes, especially if they're new on the market, you can't actually, the links are not available in order for it to go down more than maybe half an inch or an inch at the most. And then once I've done that, I then have to lower the front forks and bring the handlebars forward. But at the same time, you're not just doing all of that. The side stand then needs to be welded off and then shaped and molded again. And sometimes that actually is dangerous for the stability of the bike on certain roads when we park up, and put the bike down. So I've crashed so many of my bikes. I've
Wow.
dropped loads of my bikes, and I've had the Suzuki SV650, I've had the R6, I had the limited edition Rossi Bumblebee, the yellow and the black, and I spent a lot of money
Nice.
getting that adjusted, and just I rode it a few times, and my confidence really did shatter every time I dropped it. I had the CB Cafe racer, the Neo, I think that was the 650 or the 600, I can't even remember, it was that long ago. I rode it all of half an hour, James.
Wow.
Half an hour, and that bike had to go straight back into storage and sold within the 2 weeks that I had it, because it just was not possible. So I then had to compromise on the CC. I had to go down to a 500. So I had a CBR 500, which was beautiful. Gave me the sports bike. It gave me the shape of a sports bike. It was smaller in tank, and I still had to lower the seat height, but not adjust the front forks or the handlebars too much. So the stability of the bike was okay. But then that's when my husband decided he wanted a his and hers. So he went for the 1000 CB Cafe, and I went for the six. I can't remember if it's a 600 or 650. Let's just say the 650. And I went with that one. And then because I couldn't have that one any longer, I went down to the Honda Rebel 500. And I was very upset. I was absolutely gutted that I had to go down in CC. I felt like I was compromising a lot, but it was a really nippy bike. It was amazing, just weaving in and out, all legal, all above board, but it
Of
was
course.
beautiful. And then the Honda Rebel CMX 1100 came out. And as soon as that came out, that was it. I went for that one. So I've had that for coming on to a year and a half. I think I'm on my 2 years now, to be fair.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
2021 plate, and I've had no issues. Perfect for the engine size, the height. Nothing's been adjusted. I've not dropped this bike once, so that's the beauty of this bike. I've not dropped it once. I can
Good.
maneuver. I don't need my husband now to move the
Don't
bike
say that
for
too
me.
loud. Jesus.
But he's not in the house. He's not in the house. I can say this.
Oh, that's
But
all
you
right
know,
then.
I can now maneuver it myself. I can now take it out of storage and put it back in. I can park the bike up without having to rely on anyone. And the best bit is I'm not crushing it. The only downside to that bike is I love a sports bike. I would easily want to have a CBR 600 any given day, but my stomach, my height, it just doesn't allow it. So I have still had to compromise, but I'm so grateful to Honda for bringing out the 1100 in the Rebel version so that I can ride a bit of a faster bike and not have to worry about dropping it all the time. So,
Yeah, and what an amazing bike it is as well. I mean, the Rebel
beautiful.
is fantastic. It always has been.
Yeah.
But it seems to be this common theme, and I think this is going to follow on with the stream tonight anyway. That bikes are designed with, and let's be honest, with men in mind, and it's that's their main audience, and it always has been for many years. It seems that that male and males are dominating the motorbike industry, and that's how it's always been, which is a shame. Now there's a shift, and it's great to see because there is brands like BMW, like KTM, like Triumph, or certainly additional companies which are offering lowering options for bikes that are making it more accessible for women to have the right bikes. But the one thing that always seems to get me is test riding. Now, you can go sit on a bike in a showroom, fine, absolutely fine, but that is not going to give you the full feeling of the bike itself. I mean, have you guys had experiences with dealerships or retailers which have been able to say, right, here's the keys, go and test it for, and I'm not saying about 10 minutes or so, half an hour, an hour, 2 hours, whatever it may be. Have you had any experience with that? Laura, let's start with yourself.
No, I mean, our bikes are from Superbike Factory, and I think as good as they are, you like you say, you can look at them, they'll pull them out for you if you arrange it, and you can sit on them, and that's fine. I was lucky. I'd sat on the same model before. I knew what it was like. I hadn't ridden it, but you fall in love with them. You're going to make it work, aren't you? That bike's going to work.
Yes, through hell or high water, it's going to work, even if you
I will
risk
make that bike work.
Kay, what about yourself? What sort of experiences have you had with dealerships and and testing the bikes themselves, or were you lucky and maybe had friends that had them? What was your experience when choosing a bike?
I haven't. I mean, I've only had 2 bikes. Obviously, I only passed my test in November, so I'm quite new to riding anyway.
Yes.
But before that, I had like a 125, and it was literally a case of I sat on it, I could touch the floor, I liked it, I got it. And then the same with the Rebel. Obviously, I've been to a few different shops and sat on a few different bikes. But for me, a lot of the bikes that I sat on, it's not the fact that I was a little bit too short for it. I was quite a bit short for it. So even with the lowering kits that you can get that lower it by a couple of inches, and I know men are probably not going to like me for this comment, but them couple of inches are not that much. I can see you, by the way.
Good. I just restarted my camera while you were talking. I was listening.
No, that's okay. But yeah, I haven't test ridden any bikes at all. And then with the Rebel, I went to a Honda dealership and wasn't looking to buy or anything like that. Yeah. I got there and I went, oh, I really like this one. And it had an amazing deal on. It came with a lot of extras. And I was like, yeah, I like that. So got price and then just bought it. So fantastic. So like Laura said, sorry. I was going to say, like Laura said, if you want that bike, you'll make it work.
Yeah. I mean, there's always going to be exceptions. I mean, Zainab, bless you, you probably had your heart set on something like a 600. You'd love to make it work, but there is always going to be exceptions. I mean, maybe in your particular case, it's a little bit out of the ordinary, but it's still still an opening for people to be able to make these adjustments on bikes.
I mean, I've never had the opportunity to test ride one because of the height issues. I mean, I could tell you stories and stories of all the issues I've had, and some of the dealerships I'm quite well known with them. I just have to ring and say hello, and they recognize me from my voice because of all the issues.
Big red flashing lights, warning.
Big red flashing lights. But I buy so much from them that they love me to bits because of the money that I spend. But when it comes to test riding, I mean, I actually have to take at least more than one person with me. And I've had where my biker mates have come and one has stood in front of the bike and the other one stood at the bike holding the bike upright because of not being able to lift it. And then what they've done is one has like wedged the front tire in between his legs, and then there's someone at the back to hold it straight like this, so I'm not dropping it because it's not lowered at that point. There's no way my feet are going to reach anyway. So for me, it's always been a case I've never been able to test ride a bike. I do trust my husband's judgment. Once or twice he's ridden a bike. This was well before I had the experience I now have. So now I don't even bother test riding them. It's a case of if I do like it, like Laura and Kay said, I'm going to make it work, but I can't do that until after I've put the money into it, after I've lowered it, after I've taken it on the road. But I'll tell you one thing, hats off to the private car park for Tesco, because the amount of times my husband's ridden my bike there, either me as a pilly or me in my car, I've then geared up and I've just ridden around the car park to see, is it, because it's got all levels of flooring there. There's loads of bumps and loads of potholes and loads of deep roads and areas that I can do anything and everything in our local Tesco car park. And I've always tested the bike out, and the moment I get on the bike there, I know whether this bike is going to work for me or not. And the moment I turn around and say to my husband, no, he knows from there come hell or rain, this woman ain't getting back on this bike again, because I just know from that couple of hours in that car park. And by then I've already spent a couple of £1,000 and I've lost money on it. So for me, it's been unfortunate, but it's a choice I make. I want to ride a bike. So for me, it's a case of until there's a dealership out there who starts looking at women in the individual aspect, which we're a few years to go. If that, I don't think it's a bit like clothing, isn't it? That they're always going to have like a limited range where something's going to fit someone. Absolutely. It's not going to be one shoe fits all. So until then, I have a lot of sacrifices to make, and I'm ready for that. But it's unfortunate because I have lost a lot of money.
Yeah, sounds like it, and I can only say that you could write a book on your experiences, and you should. What was it? I think you said you're the 4'11 Club or something, the 4'11 Club. You should write a. That's it. Yeah, you should write a book and say, look, if you're up to a certain height, you're looking for a bike. Here's my experiences and that sort of thing. That was quite nice how you did that, because that's quite a nice tangent into clothing. Ladies' clothing is one thing that I have noticed for a long, long time. When I go shopping for motorbike gear for myself, for example, I'll go into a reputable dealership and there is tons of things available. There is suits, there is leather trousers, there's textile trousers, helmets, gloves, everything. And then in the corner, like almost under the shade, is this ladies' area. And it's like, why? Because there is so many people I know, obviously yourselves included, that are female riders, and they start with what can only be described as hand-me-downs from either their partners, their dads, their friends, and although it may be serve a purpose initially, trying to find decent ladies' clothing has always been an issue. Now, Laura, you came with us the other day to the Motorgirl event we had. So one of the companies which I massively rate is Motorgirl. They are a company dedicated to ladies' motorcycle clothing, and it's not just safety. They actually concentrate on the fact it's for women. So it's looks, it's style. They look good. They're functional. That's the sort of thing that we want to see, not just blokes' clothing with a bit of pink slapped on and, oh, it's for women now. Yeah, but it's not, is it? Because blokes' figures and female figures are completely different. Although I may have the boobs for it, I'm not a ladies' figure. I sit differently. I ride differently. There's different things to it. So Motorgirl is amazing. I mean, Laura, was that your first time seeing Motorgirl in person? What did you think about it?
Obviously, seeing Ellen in person, yes.
Yes.
I've tried on some Motorgirl stuff. I've got a couple of bits already. I really like it, and especially now, like Northampton being so close, you can, you know, what they've got on there that you can try on, and it's really good to see it. What I find is in other unnamed motorcycle clothing outlets,
Oh, nicely done.
like you say, you know, you have that little corner and they'll be like, oh yeah, there's lots more available online, but then you've got to order it and try it on, and then if it doesn't fit, you've got to send it back, and then you go around that loop. So what do? Just take the stuff that's on the shelf because you know it fits, because you've been able to try it on. So it's good now that Motorgirl is in more and more stores, because everybody has a slightly different range, you know, sizes available. You can try it on in one color, or they might not have the color you want, but at least you know that you can try it on and it fits.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, so that's really good, and they're bringing out more and more, and it just seems to be getting, you know, better and better. So yeah, it's nice that it's not that generic, like you say. This is now women's clothing, because, well, I'm like the walking example of it. Like, look at all your clothing. It's men's stuff with pink stuff on it and a bit of white.
Sorry, that wasn't a dig.
no, it really is. And, you know, don't get me wrong, I love a bit of pink, but it is the men's stuff, size down, little bit of pink on it, and it doesn't fit a woman the same as it fits a man. Like, you don't want it flapping around. You want the armor in the right places.
Absolutely.
So to have it fit in on your arms and on your body, but then, you know, I think 90% of, you know, women are going to understand, if not more, that then you zip that up and you can't move.
Yeah, which is pointless, because you need to be able to move and flex and ultimately breathe when you're on the bike as well. If it's way too tight, one, it's going to take away all the passion, all the enjoyment of being on the bike anyway. And two, from a safety point of view, if you do unfortunately have an off, well, the armor, the Kevlar, whatever it's made of, is not going to work properly, because it's just not designed for your body. Okay, have you got Motorgirl, or what have you got at the moment?
I've got lots.
Good, that's good.
Yeah, a lot of my stuff, I think all of my stuff actually is, or 90% of it is Alpine Stars. But it is literally a case of the jacket. The jackets, I'm a little bit bigger in certain areas than others.
Yes.
Than other areas of my body, I mean. And doing up the jacket, absolutely fine down here, and then it's literally a case of doing it up, and then I can move fine in it, but breathing in it, and then when I undo it, I'm like, oh my god, it's like a woman taking a bra at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Is that a lady's jacket?
Yeah, that's a women's jacket. So they do come fitted.
Yes.
But that's the thing, they do come too fitted. We went to a clothing shop, a bike clothing shop, a while ago, and
sorry, Motorlog UK. He seems to disagree with what you're saying there. He says you only wear dungarees. Sorry, no, continue.
Of course I do. He knows nothing. No, we went to one shop, and I tried on a few pairs of trousers, and they were probably 2 sizes bigger than what I would usually go for in a normal pair of jeans. And they didn't fit. And one of the sizes I couldn't even get past my ass, and then the other ones I couldn't do up. And then I burst into tears in the shop because I was crying my eyes out, because I was like, this is ridiculous. I am not that size, and I'm not. There's nothing against people that are that size, but I'm not that size, and I know I'm not. And I cried my eyes out, and there was a girl that was working in the shop, and she was like a twig. And she was like, oh, it's okay. I know what you mean. I know how you feel. And I think, no, you freaking don't, because you're like this and I'm like this, like, you know. But yeah, I cried my eyes out. I had to go outside and compose myself. And they were all like, is she okay, to Steve? And I was like, they must think I was quite funny.
No, not at all. Well, that's an interesting point you've raised there, because it's like, it's not just about being limited in size and shape and all that sort of thing. It's a case of when you do find what appears to be on the label the right size for you. I mean, admittedly, when they've got the armor in, of course, that's going to bring the trousers in a bit, or whatever it may be anyway for you. It's the emotional and mental aspects of saying, well, hang on, you know, I'm now looking at things that are bigger. Am I the right? You know, it's kind of like an impact on you yourselves. So shopping becomes not just a necessity for biking, but it also becomes, you know, quite a bit of a chore, a bit of a painful to do that sort of thing.
I love shopping. Like, as Steve, I absolutely love shopping.
Always told me.
For me, but he's told everyone. But for me, it's yeah, it's not enjoyable when it's for bike clothes, because I'm going 3 sizes bigger than what I would usually buy, and it's quite depressing, really. And it's got a little bit of a thing on your mental health, because you know what women are like not all women, but most women are like,
Blokes are like it too. I'll be honest
and I'm
with
not
you.
happy with the way I look and stuff like that, you know.
Listen, when I started
And
shopping
I
for my
am
stuff,
one of them people. Yeah, I'm one of them people that I'm not happy with it. So to go to a bike shop and have to go 3 sizes bigger than what I usually would is a little bit of a kick in the teeth, really.
Listen,
But
I've been there. When I first started buying bike gear for myself, I had to go up sizes. Again, it's because of the armor. Plus companies like Alpine Stars, that's the prime example. I tried one of their jackets on, and I was like 2 or 3 sizes bigger, than I should have been, sort of thing. And it's like, there's no link, or there's no seem to be rhyme or reason between normal shopping and bike shopping. So please don't feel bad about whatever you buy. At the end of the day, you buy it.
Now.
Does it fit? No, well, look, good, because you buy it. Does it fit? Is it right for you and the bike that you're riding?
Yeah.
That is all that matters. Whatever it says on the label, you just cut the label off. It doesn't matter if it fits
I was
you.
literally
That's all
thinking,
that matters.
yeah, no one knows what size I'm wearing apart from me, and probably Steve, because he's probably paid for it.
Oh, that's good of him.
Oh, he buys
Steve.
all my stuff. He buys all my stuff. I don't think I've bought one thing.
No, that's all right.
He's a good egg.
We all need a Steve in our lives, don't we? Zainab, what about yourself? Where do you go shopping for your motorbike gear?
Where do I start?
Well,
4'11", James.
Yeah,
4'11". I've had so many issues. I have to admit, I absolutely love Motor Girl, especially these past few years with some of the gear that they brought out. So they brought out some really lovely dungarees. So I've got a black one and I've got a blue one. No, I've got a grey one and a blue one, and I think I might get the black one as well. I've got absolutely a lot of I'd love to have Alpine Stars, but honestly, they're just, I'm not even going to bother, because they're just never going to fit. It's not the case that I have to go 2 sizes up, but they're too long. And somebody actually once shared with me a tailor's details that a tailor can then cut it and shrink it. And I thought to myself, do you know what? I buy me. I'm Indian. I'm South Asian, and I don't even buy clothes where I need to snip the bottom up, because I'm paying for that material to be used. It's price per square meter, whatever it is, and I already spend a lot of money when it comes to my motorbikes. I'm not going to buy something only to then chop off 3/4 of the bottom just for it to fit my short legs. So I really struggled. So there came a point several years. So I've been riding for 8 years. So when I first started off, there came a point where actually there was nothing on the market that would fit me. JNS did have one pair of leggings, or jeggings, should I say, which were really good, but I had to go a couple of sizes up. But the armor was a bit difficult because it didn't really fit properly on the knees. It would just went slightly below. So when I was riding, there'd be times where I had to adjust that armor and bring it back up onto my knee, because it kept slipping down and it was on the highest point. So I've had loads of issues there. But with Motor Girl, I've touched wood, luckily had it a bit more recently. But then I got to a point where I started buying the Under Armour that you get. You've got your thermals where you've got the Under Armour. So I started buying that, and then just wearing normal trousers with those armored leggings underneath. And then there's a company called Knox that does Knox shirts. So again, armored undershirts, which I would then wear under normal tops or under a normal jacket, because the jacket would then either the sleeves would be too long, or I wouldn't be able to close them up from my stomach. And they're normally leather. So with leather, unless they are subtle, supple enough to stretch, they don't often stretch. You got to wear them in, and it takes years of wear to wear them in, and it was just too long. So it just got to the point where I started wearing the Knox stuff. But it's not just clothing for me; it's also the gloves and it's also the helmet. So I've got the Shoei GT Air and the GT Air 2. When I bought my Shoei, they are very, very good. When I bought my first Shoei, the GT Air, the small size fit me perfectly, absolutely nothing wrong with it. No adjustments needed to be made. When I bought the GT 2, same size, same helmet, just a few features updated. I started getting migraines here. It was too tight, literally here.
Wow.
And when I was riding, I couldn't turn my head, so I almost crashed because I couldn't turn my head to look at the blind spot. We went straight to MCA here in Leicester where I live, and they immediately had to start chopping and start cutting, and it wasn't working, and they had to get onto the phone to Shoei and ask the sizes of the skull from the inside. Shoei confirmed that the head size, everything's the same. Hubby had to go home and get my Shoei GT Air, bring it back to the shop. They had to measure it and size it. Oh, it was
Wow.
ridiculous. We spent hours in MCA that afternoon. So the whole beautiful day of riding just gone. And we just ended up spending, and they were just cutting it. So my GTI 2, if I wanted to sell it right now, you know, some people do buy good condition helmets. I've never
Yeah, yeah.
sold any of mine, but if I was, it's one helmet I cannot ever sell, because half of it's just been chopped up to mold into the skull on my right hand side, and then the left has been left alone. So it's not just that, but then it's gloves as well. So
Mhm.
I've never been able to wear winter gloves because no winter gloves ever fit me. The pinky is always too long, so when I'm riding, it's
Yeah,
in my
yeah.
subconscious that my gloves are falling off. So it's more of a subconscious element, you know, a thought process as opposed to the actual helmet. So I constantly have to wear summer gloves in winter, and I'm not a fair weather rider. I ride in rain, wind, hail. The only thing I don't ride in is snow or ice. And I've done,
Yes.
you know, horrible journeys where I've had to ride for work purposes, and by the time, and I'm used to be anemic or suspected anemia. So my hands get colder and get number a lot sooner than other people. So I'd be on the bike for less than half an hour, my whole hands are numb. And we all know
Wow.
from a health and safety perspective, if you can't feel your fingers,
Yep.
you can't you know, you can't maneuver your handlebars,
No,
your
no.
gear and your brakes. So I've got to look at that. So it's only recently now that there's one or two gloves that have come out that actually are winter gloves and that fit me, but it's only now. And when I mean now, I mean literally the beginning of this year, that I've managed to find gloves that actually are winter, that fit me, or undergloves that I can wear on top of my
Wow.
underneath my summer gloves. So it's not just that. And then of course the color. So I love my red, as you can see. I try
Love
to
it.
have as many red bikes as I can. I got a red car, you know, everything red. And every time I go into a shop, all you see is a little bit of pink slashed on, a little bit of purple. And I'm constantly arguing with JNS because JNS a couple of years ago did a short verbal survey to ask women their thoughts. And I kept banging on and on and on about the red. And I was like, come on. And we're now 4 or 5 years down the line and they still haven't bought red in, because apparently, according to their wider survey, women are just not interested in different colors. Every
No,
day, according to them,
I
it's
just
always going to be
disagree with
pink or
that.
purple. And I'm like, I don't know which women you are surveying, but I can guarantee you, you know, I like my
Not the
reds
right
and my,
ones.
yeah, I like my mustard. So Motor Girl, this is where Motor Girl comes into effect. They've got beautiful, I mean, they're Valerie jackets. I've got the mustard one, I've got the red one, and then I've
Mhm.
got some black ones. I've got some amazing colors, but I tend to now stay away from the actual armored gear. And I would just end up buying the Knox shirts or the Under Armour, and just wear that under normal clothing, as opposed to, which is actually slightly dangerous because, of course, on a health and safety perspective, they're not as good as the actual gear itself. The armor's there, don't get me wrong, but the leggings that I wear, which are armored under normal travels, they're not Kevlar, are they? And I've worn Kevlar and
Right.
I've crashed in Kevlar, and I've not had as much damage in Kevlar. And I know that if I was to go out right now on a slightly bigger bike and drop my bike, I'd probably slash, you know, my legs or something with the gear that I sometimes wear,
No, don't
because
do
it's
that.
quite thinly layered. So it's not just sacrifices made on bikes; it's also on the clothing. But Motor Girl, I cannot stress enough, they are doing wonders when it comes
Yeah.
to their gear. They have created some really fantastic designs recently, and I'm absolutely loving it. So they are the way to go for me right now, and I just hope they keep producing the colors and the style that's needed. Plus, the one thing I love about Motor Girl is, well, two things actually. Their website, you can put in your measurements and it tells you what size is
Yep.
suited to you
I saw that.
if you can't actually get to a shop. But the other thing, and I don't know if many people know this, is you can actually email in and you can say to them that you're not sure whether the website is correct when it talks about the sizing, and then you can ring them, and what they'll actually do, and I mentioned, I think Laura, you mentioned, is it Eileen, but the ladies in Motor Girl, they'll actually go and grab the item for you. They'll take the measure tape out and they'll measure it whilst you're on the phone to them, and they'll spend some time with you. They don't push you. They're very patient, and they'll spend time talking to you about the gear and stuff like that. And then sometimes they do allow you to buy two. And then when it comes to returns, sometimes they'll do free returns as well if you've gone and bought the next one. Not always, but sometimes.
You're giving all their secrets away now. You shouldn't be saying that.
So, yeah, I mean, I suppose not. But in a sense, what I mean is they're really good when it comes to assisting.
Yes.
And so are the other shops. So is JNS and all the other places. They're fantastic when it comes. But the way I see it is we shouldn't have to go through all those lengths. We should be able to walk into the shop, grab something off the shelf. That one doesn't fit. Let's grab that one. All the colours like, fits. And then off we go. Here, just to buy one piece of clothing, you've got to take months to get the right one. And by then, it's probably put you off the design altogether. So, yeah, I could go on and on and on, James. But
I don't doubt you. No, do you know what? It's this survey that they did, and they surveyed colours and everything. I'll be honest with you, that is absolute rubbish, because I can tell you now, the biker girls I know, there's probably, I don't know, less than 10% that actually say, I want pink gear, or gear with pink on, or purple, or whatever it is. There is so many other colours out there. But of course, that comes down to them having to remarket everything. That comes down to having to redesign everything. And the brands and companies don't want to do that, because they're very narrow-minded. They're very old school. And they say, the bikes are for men. I'm sorry, but they are. And they say, well, only men buy the large percent of our clothing. Well, yes, because the clothing you do have for women is shit. Let's face it. There's crap clothing out there. So it is fantastic that obviously we're talking about Motorgirl. I can't even think of another brand that has women's specific clothing which seems to have the same sort of response. I know this is kind of pushing other brands now to really kind of rethink their strategy and rethink, okay, maybe we should start having ladies gear in, because there's obviously a market for it. And there is, because the only thing that seems to hold back women in biking that I can think of, yes, biking, the actual bikes themselves, but they can be modified, they can be changed, they can be lowered, whatever it may be. And luckily, there's a lot of bike choices out there, from choppers to sports bikes to adventure bikes. There's enough of a choice to at least get you on a bike. But before you even do that, as you say, you can take a month or so to find the right gear. You can't just go and get it. You need to try it on. You need to make sure it's right for you. You need to wear it for a little bit as well. Make sure it is okay for you over a bit of time. When it comes to helmets, you need to make sure it's the right fit for you and your neck and moving about and that sort of thing. One thing that we haven't discussed, which I know did come up in one of the comments, let me see if I can find it, was boot sizes. Now, here we go. This is the comment I saw. Have any of the ladies tried height increasing boots or inserts to help? My daughter is struggling too with her height for riding. Now, question with that one. By increasing your height, is that still going to give you the same stability on a bike? I don't know, because I'm very fortunate. I have ridiculously long legs, which is great. But I mean, sorry, but I mean, have any of you guys actually tried this height increasing boots or inserts? And what's your experience with it, Kay?
When I did my Mod 1 and Mod 2, I was doing it on a Gladius, I want to say.
Yes, Suzuki Gladius, lovely bike.
Yeah, and it was too high, but it was the lowest that they had. And every other female that they've kind of had, they did it on that bike as well, obviously, that was around about the same height as me. But they...
Fasty. Sorry, go on.
Yes, they were fasty. But they... when I did it at there, I tried it, and I tried it in my own boots, and I actually dropped the bike twice on my lessons.
Okay.
And then the woman who runs the school with her husband, she said, "I've got some. I think they're Dayanese, or is it something like that?"
Yeah, Dayanese, yeah.
I think they are. I may have just made that up. But she said that they've got a little bit of a platform in them. And she said it's only literally a little bit, but if it can get you more feet on the ground, like more of your feet on the ground, then it will help. And I was like, okay, perfect. And she said, do you want to borrow them? And I said, yeah. She said, because she had a new pair anyway. So, and I used them going forward to do my test, and they were amazing. That little bit helped me so much with confidence, because just being able to put a little bit more of my foot on the floor I felt more stable holding the bike. I mean, to be honest, the bike was just way too heavy for me, like way too heavy. I'm a weakling. I've got nothing like that. So
Bikes are heavy. People
I'm a
don't
wing
understand
or
this.
something.
Listen, bikes are heavy. I know, and I
It
completely get
is.
that they are. And
It was
and
really
unless
heavy.
you've got that stable foot base,
Yeah.
you are going to have issues with it. You know, I mean, I've rode these lovely tool bikes, and even I'm like, bloody hell. So you know,
Yeah.
bless you. I
Once it was
kind of.
going,
Oh God, yeah.
it was going. Like there was no stopping it, and I couldn't stop it. So, but my bike now, because I can flat foot on the ground and stand up, like, and still have space, like from the seat,
Yes.
and it's so light. My bike
Okay.
is so light. I can just
So-
fling it around, like, but it's
So that's
low
interesting.
center of gravity.
Yes, no, definitely. I love the Rebels. I think they're fantastic. So that's interesting. By having these insoles, that gave you more confidence on a different bike. So, Zainab, you're also nodding away there. I'm guessing by having these insoles, or the ability to have insoles as well, that will open up the quantity of bikes that are available for you as well.
There was. I do have a few points to make on that, though. I had the Daytona ladies
Yes.
Pilot GTX, I believe it was, but it was the Daytona ladies. I wish I knew about that when I was doing my test, because I also did mine on the Gladius, and my instructor had two Gladius, one normal height and one lower height. And when I failed mod one the first time, in fact, I didn't even want to do the mod one. By the time I got to the training center, and my instructor, he was like, "Just finish it, so you know what to expect." And then when I failed the mod 2 on the first time round, and when I passed it the second time round, my instructor made a comment. He goes, "He's passed me for a few reasons. And one of the reasons was he could see that I was struggling on the bike, and that he hopes, of course, I was going to get a small, lower bike." And it was later on, I was doing a lot of research, because I wanted the SV650. I wanted that glide. The Gladius, isn't it? And I came across the ladies Daytona, and because I am 4'11", it did give me a bit of extra height, but not too much. So that stability was there, but still not as much as one would have liked. But at the same time, what I also found was, as lovely as they were quite chunky from the front of the boots. So the beauty about the SV650 is there's a lot of space between the pedal and the gear at the front.
Yes.
So you can shift up and down as you need to, and then keep your foot underneath, because I have a habit of keeping my leg to the side of my gear, or just below the gear, where where your brakes are at the gear shift is at the front.
Yes.
So I have a habit of resting the back of my heel on my pedal and keeping the front of my toe section on the side. With the SV650, I could keep it underneath, I could put it up top, whatever I wanted. But when I then moved to another bike, and I can't remember which bike it was now, I've had that many, the ladies Daytona just didn't work. The spacing, it was too short. So for me, I couldn't go gear up, gear down, and then rest underneath it or rest on the side. I had to then keep my foot on the gear, which is then quite dangerous, because if by mistake, whatever reason, you gear in, and your leg, you go on a bump or whatever, you immediately bump down again. And I started to go down, and I've done that, as a beginner, you make your mistakes. So the ladies Daytona for me in certain bikes was not suitable. So I did recently sell that. I sold that when I bought my Honda Rebel 500, and now have the 1100. So again, I don't need them. So they were all right. But I would say that I never actually increased my height by putting insoles myself. I left it to the experts by buying those. But what I did want to try, I wanted to try Doc Martens once. I just thought, well, you know what, they're too pricey to buy, to then try it on a motorbike, because they give you a little bit of height. So when I had the R6, I was trying as much as possible, because they're not stylish. And again, it comes down to style. The shoes are very clunky. So I wanted to be a bit fashionable, and there's an image about motorbike, females and motorbikers, they tend to be, or the image portrayed tends to be more skinny, slender, tall, and so on. So the shoes are more geared towards that kind of image. They don't take into account that there's people like me, short and plump. on the chubby side. So for me, I thought, let me go for the Doc Martens, and I just thought no. So I bought Doc Marten mimic ones, so replicas that look similar to Doc Marten, and they were just no, absolutely not. They were again too clunky. So I thought, you know what, never mind, leave it. I'm just going to stick to normal bike shoes that I've got, and again, I had to compromise on the style. I don't know if you've heard of the TMX make. So I was wearing a lot of
TCX or
TMX make,
TMX?
which TCX, that's it, TCX. So I was wearing the flatter version of the TCX because they were the only ones that actually kind of fit me properly. And TCX now have brought out some really nice trainer versions, and they are
That's what I was
really,
going to say,
really
actually. The trainer version seems to be the way to go because
yeah,
a lot of girls I know, they have problems with their calves or their thighs or whatever it may be. So having, the normal bike boots, if you like, that are up to your near bloody knees,
absolutely.
they're not going to suit.
No, because my
By-
calves are quite big, so I can't put the boots up either. So I mean, I see some really nice, lovely, gorgeous red boots. I think it's in Motorbiking or something. I've forgotten. Ride on Co. Lovely little shop somewhere in Bristol. And bless him, we measured it. We did everything we could. Got it delivered. Got it ordered. Bloody other calves don't go up, so off they went back again. So I do now have the trainer version of the T6. So what I've done is I've got a yellow Shoei GTR 2
Nice.
to match the husband, because again he wanted to do the his and hers section. And then I love my red. So what I've done is I've got my shoelaces. I've got one maroon shoelace to match my bike. So one leg is maroon, and the other one is a yellow highlighter type of shoelace to match my helmet. Whereas the trainers itself is like a dark grey black. So whilst I've compromised on the overall colour and style of it, I've gone straight into the shoelace to make it look a bit more stylish. So
See,
in
there
my
we go.
photos, you'll see one yellow, one red.
There you go. That's
So, yeah.
brilliant. You've been able to make something of something that maybe wasn't quite what you wanted, but you've personalised it, and now people will need to look at your feet and go, "Oh, I know who that is." Everyone's going to notice you now while you're riding around.
Absolutely.
But yeah, what I'm going to do at this point, I was going to say, if there's any ladies watching, of course, if you have any questions for our lovely lady of panels, lovely panel of ladies, I've had too much JD, please pop up and put a question in the chat as well. It'd be great to hear any questions you have, and we'll obviously let you girls know, and then we'll take it from there. But okay, so blimey, we've covered a lot already, which is incredible. So bikes, gear, boots, everything. Let's have a look at your actual riding experience and where your favourite place is to ride. So we'll actually get to know you a little bit more. Kate, I know you've only been riding for a little bit of time, but your face, wow. Where is it you like to go for a ride?
Anywhere.
Brilliant.
I don't get
Laura, no.
I've got two kids, so
yes, of course.
and the issue with Cameron, and like a lot of people know the issue with Cameron who follow our channel, that it's difficult if we have to lead him with someone because everyone that we know has got a dog, blah 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 blah.
Yes, of course.
So whenever I get the opportunity to go out, I just want to go out, and I'm not really bothered kind of where, to be honest. Obviously, we've got a few weekends coming up this year, which I'm really looking forward to, because it will be the first time that I've been able to go on my own bike rather than going pillion. So, but yeah, I mean, you forgot Steve.
I know. I'm just watching that. You got
shut up, Fasty. But no, I genuinely, I'd like to go like certain places, but until Cameron's kind of sorted or old enough so I can leave him in the house on his own, then I ain't going anywhere.
No, that's absolutely fine. It is what it is.
Anywhere for me, really.
Yeah, at the moment you've still got that kind of that enjoyment factor of it's still quite new to you.
The honeymoon period.
Yes, I didn't want to call it that, but yes, absolutely.
No, it is. Yeah, I've still got the whole. I love it. It's great, and hopefully I'll always have that, because I bet everybody here who rides a bike and has been for years still gets that. But for me, it's still all so new that I haven't actually got out on my bike as much as I'd have wanted to be honest.
Listen, the year has only just started as far as the bike season. I hate calling it that because I like to ride all year round, but it is, and now the sun is finally coming out and it's lovely and warm. The roads are dry, all the shitting off the roads is clearing up, you're going to get many miles under your belt. And
Yeah.
and the great thing is, and we'll come on to this in a second, there's lots of ladies only groups that seems to be appearing as well, which is, it's nice to see. It's nice to have that kind of safe place for other lady riders to have as well, without, you know, these big smelly sweaty men all over the place. You don't want that, do you? Yeah, thanks. Laura, what about yourself? You've been riding for, how many years have you been riding for now?
I did my first CBT nearly 19 years ago.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So you've seen, you know, obviously bikes and everything's changed over the years as well. Where's your go-to place? Where do you like to go?
I think I'm the same as Kay. Like I'm just grateful to be out. 'Cause although I've had bikes over the years, I didn't do my full license until last year. I did it originally and did my mod 1 and failed it and lost my head a little bit and was like, oh, I'll do it. I'll have a bit of a break and I'll do it again. And then COVID hit, and then it was like, okay, great. Then we'll leave it a bit longer. So although, you know, 16 CBT, I was that one on the moped rocking around at 16 until I was 17 and could have a 125, and then
nothing wrong with that.
Dabbled in and out for years, but it's always been my thing. So for me, the fact that now I have a big bike and I have no restrictions, you know, you can go anywhere now. So for me, there's lots of places still to explore. And for me, it's just that feeling of being out and trying to go somewhere different all the time, not just going to the same places and just, right, should we go in that direction today? Right, we haven't been in that direction yet. Or so, yeah, I'm just enjoying the more freedom to it than what I had previously.
Good.
So, yeah.
No, it's nice. It's nice, and I obviously you've come out with us a couple of times on some of the group rides we have as well. That's always a good way of you know, meeting up with other bikers and seeing routes that you wouldn't normally take and different roads that are out there, sort of thing. So and guys, I'll say it now. I've always said it. You are all welcome to come and join some of the ride outs that we do. We've got some fantastic ones planned throughout the year, so please come and join us. And we have different rides, whether they are 125 friendly, steady rides, or you know, advanced rides. We have a combination of everything. And yeah, no, we'd love to have you all on. Zainab, what about yourself? Where'd you like to go?
So I don't actually have issues with children. Sorry, Kay. My kids are all older. I do have 4 kids. I do have 4 kids, but I spent my 20s raising my children so I can enjoy my 40s. So I've got a pair of twins, buy one get one free. I've got an older child who's about to turn 22. He's a biker himself. He rides a 125.
Oh, brilliant.
And then my twins as well. I want to make them riders. And then I've got a 14-year-old. So they're quite self-sufficient. I could go out whenever I want to. I do love taking the bike to Matlock.
Yes, beautiful place.
From Leicester, it's just absolutely beautiful. I've done a lot of skeggy trips on our bikes because, I mean, that's the closest beach to Leicester. We've been Wales quite a bit. And we recently did Bournemouth.
Oh, wow. How was that on the Rebel?
Well, it was the ride on the Rebel itself was amazing. The weather was very crap because it was raining all the way there and all the way back. But as soon as we hit Bournemouth, it wasn't even like we were in England. It was hot as anything. Couldn't tell, other than the fact that we were wet to the skin. You couldn't tell that it was raining anywhere else in the country. But the journey itself was boring. It was just a straight road, and it was just so boring. No windy roads.
You didn't do motorways, did you?
We did, unfortunately, we did. So that's a lesson learned. But if I was to compare all the journeys that we've got, I really do like my route into Wales. It's quite nice.
Which way do you go?
From Leicester, don't ask. I follow the husband.
Brilliant.
Please don't ask. I follow the hubby because the way we do it is we've got the Bluetooth to talk to each other. We both don't need our sat navs on, so he'll have the sat nav, and then he'll be listening to the sat nav and sometimes talking to me or going quiet while he listens, and I just follow him, and so on. So to be fair, I'm not checking the signs out. I'm too busy enjoying taking the sights in as opposed to looking the signs. So he could do all the hard work while I go along for the ride. But I have to admit, from Leicester, the 2 journeys I really, really do love is Matlock and Melton Mowbray. And the reason why I said Melton Mowbray is the twists and the turns.
You've got the roller coaster road, haven't you? That is
got the roller coaster route. Now, I probably do know the route to that. So I think it's the B6047 or something. So you got the B roads with a mixture of the A roads. So that mixture is lovely. But again, I'm only confident now on my Honda 1100, whereas on my other bike, my husband, if he ever came up a hill, I'd say, ta-da, mate. and I'd go the other way, and I'd go the long way and meet him
Serious?
on the other end. Oh yeah, because every time we went
Wow.
up a hill on any of my other bigger bikes, I couldn't put the foot down, you see. So very quickly I learned which roads to avoid and which to go on. So whilst they could all do the shortcuts, even if we did big group rides, if there was a shortcut, they'd all go one route, I'd end up in another route, and then I'd join them again later on. And they didn't really like that. So on some occasions they would then, follow me. But I always have to be the last on the bike. I never ever ride at the front or the middle. I'm always the last. And the excuse I've got is, oh, I've got a camera, I can record all of you lot. But it's
Good
because
excuse.
it's because I can then calculate and I measure their feet. So if they flat foot really easily, that road is not for me, because some of them are really tall, like they're 5'5", 5'6", 6'2", and so on. So very quickly I've learned to do calculated measures as to where their feet are reaching. And if I know that they're struggling themselves, then it might be possible for me to go on that road. So there's some roads I absolutely love going, and there are some that I will hideously avoid. But I do like my routes into Matlock and Melton Mowbray from Leicester.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much, ladies. That's some good. I've taken notes there, so I know where to avoid. No, where to come and join you with. Right, we've got a couple of. I am joking. We've got a couple of questions coming in. We've got one from Mr. Cart's Wheels. Kay, you may know him actually. Reference the biking season starting.
No.
Are you all year round riders or fair weather riders? Now, it doesn't really matter if I'm being honest with you, but it's a question. Let's answer it. Would you say you ride all year round? Zainab, let's start with yourself.
I have mentioned this earlier. I am a all year round rider, other than ice and
Excellent.
snow. I've not mastered that yet, and only because
Don't need to.
one of my jobs that I had was in Bedford, so 52 miles from Leicester, 52 miles back, and it always ridiculously used to rain. But not only that, I used to get truck drivers who would purposely go on the other side of the road where a puddle was, just to splash me if they wanted to. And then as they ride past, they'd laugh and they'd put their thumbs up at me. So I very quickly got used to being drizzled on. So I just started riding in the rain. So I'm an all year rounder.
Fantastic. Laura, what about yourself?
Since passing my test, we've been out every opportunity, unless it was snow or ice. So yeah, I'm always cold, as most people probably know. Heated vest on.
I've seen you don't go anywhere without that, do you?
No, everything, and that I'm still cold. So, but it's just nice to get out, isn't it? And
yeah,
I don't want to just restrict it to the summer, right? And that's a personal choice for each individual, isn't it? But
of course it is, absolutely.
And I think it depends on your lifestyle and your schedule and stuff as well. I just want to get in as much as I can.
Yeah. Kay, what about yourself, my lovely? What do you do? Do you like to get out as whenever you can? I know it's always limited to obviously when you can get out, but would the rain stop you?
And
there's no right or wrong
answers, by the way. No, because I haven't had my license that long, and I haven't got out as much as I would have wanted to. It's hard to kind of say, yeah, I would go out in the rain and stuff, because it's a confidence thing. I need to build up my confidence on a dry road, let alone on a wet road.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I would say I was a fair weather rider. However, on Sunday, we were out and it were lashing it down, and literally to the point that I've got some textile trousers, but they're just not. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I just saw that come in.
Yeah, I've got some textile trousers, but they just don't fit very well, so they're not very comfortable to wear. So I wear my jeans, like my biking jeans, that have got all the padding and everything in, that they need all the protection. But obviously when it was lashing it down on Sunday, I got absolutely soaked. And I have got Alpine Star proper big boots, but I like to wear I think that they could be TCX, them. And we got there and my boots were not waterproof. I had to go into McDonald's. And take off my socks and wring them in the sink because my feet were soaking. And then I was standing there for 20 minutes trying to put my socks under the hand dryer. And every time I kind of leant forward on my boot, like, you know, and you kind of like crush your toes, and water was just pissing out. So I was I
can't imagine what that's like.
A little bit wet. But do you know what? Luckily, it wasn't that cold. It was just wet. so
Yeah.
it wasn't too bad. But most of the time, I would say I was a fair weather rider, but we knew that we wanted to go out on Sunday, so we thought that it was meant to be dry after a certain time, and it was in Nuneaton.
Brilliant.
It wasn't where we were.
Not where you were. Brilliant.
We got back, and the neighbour was like, "Oh, how you been on your bikes?" We were like, "Yeah, absolutely soaked. The weather was horrendous." They were like, "It's been lovely and dry here." I was like,
Oh, that's just what you want to hear. That's fantastic, isn't it?
I'll just go in and strip off my wet clothes, like, as you're nice and dry.
It's all part. It's character building. It's all part of biking.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just turn the light on. It's getting a bit dark in here now.
That's all right. That's all right. No, but again, that kind of loops back to what we were saying earlier about the right gear and you wearing something which is comfortable, which is obviously one reason we wear it. But of course, it's not functional. It's not got the cover and the waterproofness and all that sort of thing. And I know you can get these overalls now, and these what I call the condoms that you wear, and you just put them on. No.
I know it's not about fashion, but I'm not looking like a giant condom on my bike.
No worries. No, that's fine. That's fine. Right, we've got a couple more questions coming in. We have got one. Where does it say here? I'm sure it was about motorbike groups. Here we go. So, what bike clubs or groups are you ladies in? Is there any lady-specific ones that you're in, or are you in general ones? Do you like to mingle with just ladies, or are you happy to ride with the lads? What's the story with that? We're going to go to where are we going? Laura, down there. Laura, yourself.
I like the mingling. I like the mingling. I think
we love a mingle.
You meet lots of different people and people that you probably wouldn't speak to in your day-to-day life. I'm part of a few like women's bike groups on Facebook.
Okay, which ones are they?
There's about 2 or 3. I think like Female Bikers UK. That's one of them, and I can't remember the other one now. But it's just good because it's questions that like we've done here, like just having a bit of a chat about female specific things. It'll be women that will ask direct questions and get answers from people. So I find that quite useful. But as far as like ride outs, I think it's good to have a mix of
Yes, because it doesn't matter if you're male or female. Even in a male orientated group or a female orientated group, you're going to get a mix of different riders and different abilities anyway. So
and different personalities as well. Like
exactly,
you're going to get that regardless of the gender that you're riding with.
Yeah. Is there any particular reason why you would prefer to ride with ladies? That's an open conversation for everyone. Is there still that stigma attached that because it's a very male dominated sport that there's going to be just lads there? Is it going to be intimidating? Is there still that sort of that feeling with it all? I don't know if anyone's got any thoughts on that.
I think the first time you go to a mixed group, you don't know what to expect. There's that little bit of like, oh, will I be the only one, or is it going to be like lads, or you just don't know what you're going to. But I think once you've kind of bit the bullet and you've done it, and you're like, actually, that was really good, then you just got to do it that once and find out if it's for you or not. If it's not, you've tried it, you've done it. You might find another one, but if it works, it's worth it, isn't it?
Absolutely, and it's an experience at the end of the day, isn't it? Which, whether it's good or bad, it's still an experience. It will, get you there. Zainab, what about yourself? Have you rode with any groups before?
I have. This one might be actually good for Kay. There's a Facebook group called Honda Rebel 500. I can always send the proper name later on. I'm still part of it, even though I've got the 1100cc, because a few of us have chosen to stay on and they've allowed it. But they tend to get together every now and then, and the ladies are scattered all over the country and they're happy to meet up where we can. But I've not had a chance to ride out with them because every time they do, I've not been able to join with them for the day job that I have and all the volunteering work that I do. But in terms where I am in Leicester, there's quite a few bikers. So there's chilled out bikers. There's a more slightly infamous one, which are known. I forgot what their name is. But there's quite a few. But when I had the bigger bikes, when I was less confident, I actually rode with a few bikers there, purely so that I could build up my confidence, because like Laura said, you get loads of different types of riders and you're not sure what to expect. And some of them, and what I found was they're absolutely amazing. Some rides will tell you from the very beginning whether they accept 1-5ers or not, whether it's 1-5 friendly or not. And those that are not, what they do, those that are, what they do is they will wait or they'll have some people staying behind with the 1-to-5ers while everybody else goes on. But everyone does their own riding, and that's the beauty of some of the groups that I'm on. Everybody does their own riding. It's not a race. It's not showing off who's better than the other one. It's not my bike is bigger than your bike. You know, I would have used another word, but I chose to use the word my bike is bigger than your bike situation. So some of these are really good, but equally there are 1 or 2 groups that I refuse to ride with in Leicester, because they ride around with their slippers, with their shorts, riding 100 on a 30 mph, and they're very notorious here in Leicester. And they've lost a few. Well, say they lost a lot of bikers ridiculously riding, and they've constantly tried to get me on, because in Leicester, I've not yet come across another Muslim female motorbiker. There's loads of other religions, and religion doesn't even come into the mix of whether you should be a biker or not. But there is a taboo subject of whether Muslim females should be riding in the UK. And as I explained to you the other day, abroad, you know, Pakistan, India, Afghanistan, women tend to ride the motorbikes and the mopeds. But in the UK, women tend to drive cars and not ride motorbikes. So I was shunned by family when I first got on the bike, and it took a year. It took several years for my family to even talk to me. As soon as they found out that I ride a motorbike, and I still to this day get picked on and bullied on because of the fact that I ride a motorbike. So I am very picky as to which groups I go with, but majority of the groups I ridden with are absolutely amazing. But we've kind of formed our own. So there's a few of us, all mix of, you know, different ethnicities, race and creed. We've got a massive mixture of people. We've kind of created our own, and you know, some of them are family orientated. So sometimes they can come out on a ride, sometimes they can't. It's me and my hubby are the only ones who are a couple. So we are the only ones who can just, you know, literally ditch our kids and go out on a ride, you know, at the drop of a pin. And most people can't do that. So for us, I am now a bit more dubious as to who I ride with, just because I do get a lot of stereotypes. But from the motorbike community, I've come across a lot of really nice people, a lot of gentle people, a lot of people who have got a lot of patience with me when it comes to my other bikes. Now with my Honda, you know, I have no issues. I can do my 3-point turners in the middle of the road. I don't have to get off and get the husband to move the bike for me and, you know, put it in a straight line for me to ride off. So things have moved on. But I would like the awareness to be raised, not just for more females, but females in different cultures, different societies to come forward and start getting on the bike. And that's one of the issues I'm coming out with, is that, you know, sometimes I don't want to ride with a man. No offense to all the men out there. You know, I love you guys to bits, and you've all been really inclusive with me. But my bike is a chopper, you know, and their bikes tend to be more sportier. And even though mine's an 1100 and there's a 600, 1000, whatever it is, sometimes I want to be with someone who's got a bit more of a choppier, but you know, chopper style, who want to go a bit more slower and so on. But I agree with everyone's comments. You know, the bikers I've come across with, you know, they're very, very inclusive. They're very, very lovable. But there are a few groups that I really do stay away from, especially in Leicester. And I do tend to stay away from some people. I mean, some of the bikers, as nice as they are, they still have this mentality that women should not be biking. Certainly Muslim females should not be biking.
I massively disagree with that.
So I do stay away.
Being on a bike is about being on a bike. It doesn't matter your sex, your religion, your culture. It doesn't matter about that. If you're in biking, your family, and that's how it is. That's how this kind of I don't want to say brotherhood. This I'm going to call it family. That's how this family has always been with myself, with a lot of people. And yes, there's always going to be people you are. You know, you don't connect with or don't gel with, but then that's the great thing about biking. There is so many other people out there that ride so many different styles of bikes that there's always going to be people that you do gel with. And okay, maybe there is a group that you don't particularly like. And obviously, we're not going to mention any names or anything like that in a negative way tonight. But if there is a particular group you don't get on with, great. Move on to the next one. There is so many different groups that are even now starting to come out, which is brilliant, and it's so good to see that everyone is included. It doesn't matter if you're on a 125, doesn't matter if you're on a 1400cc bike or a massive Harley or a Goldwing, an adventure bike. It doesn't matter. It's the love of biking, of everyone coming together and enjoying riding the bike. You know,
Absolutely.
don't get me wrong. There is people out there that like to go 100 mile an hour absolutely everywhere. Great, crack on. When I do our group rides, I love to get everyone together. And if we do decide to go a little bit quicker on a particular road, we'll split the group. You want to go enthusiastic? Go for it. We're going to take it steady and we'll meet you at the end. That's how it should be. It shouldn't matter of who you are, what your background is, or what your experience is. Because let's face it, when you put your helmet on, when you put your gear on, no one knows who you are. You know, okay, they may recognize you, but you could be literally anyone from an outsider's point of view. And that is a great thing about biking. It gives you that blank slate anyway. So why should I treat you differently when you take your helmet off? Something I've never understood.
Can I just quickly say thank you to the comments? And I appreciate Motovlog UK who said that I'd be very welcome. I'm definitely going to try and get a ride in with you guys soon.
There you go. Look at that. This is brilliant. We're bringing everyone together, guys. That's how it should be. In fact, I even myself, I haven't rode with him yet. So I don't know if I'm welcome. Am I, Motovlog UK? Am I welcome? Please, you know, thank you.
If he says no, you can always come with me as my +1.
Done. Do you take pillions? Because that'll be interesting. I've never
No,
been pillions.
I can barely balance my bike. My bike is very heavy. So unless you don't want to be living anymore, James, you can come on the pillion. But let's say no.
That's fine. I'll stay on my own bike. Oh, I've got a response from Motovlog UK. No. So
No.
brilliant. Thank you very much. No, over the next few weeks, we're going to do some more live streams and stuff. And I'm actually hoping to get Motovlog UK on here as well. So we can actually have a chat with him, not just
Don't waste your time, James.
Yeah,
Don't
no,
waste
that's
your
fine.
time.
I'm going to wait till he
Honestly.
says he wants to be. I'll be like, no, that's not at all. Right, let's have a look and see what other questions we had. I did see one earlier about, this will be interesting, cleaning. This is from Dale. Now, of course, Dale's going to say this. James, ask the ladies, do they clean their own bikes? Now, I know there's a couple of you. I already know the answers to this one, but Laura, let's start with you, my lovely. How does your cleaning routine go?
When I go out for a ride and my bike gets dirty, I then
Yes.
put it back up in the garden and I go in head first, like just straight in forwards.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's not really a big enough garden to be able to, like, you know, turn it round with the engine running. You either have to back it out or like stand turn it. But what I do is then I'm normally pretty knackered, so I go in and I take my stuff off and then I go and do my own thing, and then like the next day or 2 days later, like these magic cleaning fairies come and my bike gets turned around and
Wow.
it's clean and all the chains been cleaned and lubricated. And I don't know if you guys have got one of them, but it's
Yeah.
I've got a really shiny bike.
Amazing.
I've never the only time it's ever got wet is in the rain when I've had anything to do with it.
Well,
That's
what I
incredible.
say is, because there's magic fairies in the kitchen, in the sitting room, with the washing machine, the dryer, the dishes, the bathroom, just like there is, you know, magic fairies there, our bikes have their own magic fairies. But yeah, I agree with Laura. I don't think I think I have once or twice. So sometimes we make an afternoon of it. So we'll do it together. So I'll,
cool.
you know, I'll do a few other bits and pieces. So he might do all the main, you know, the chains and the tires, and then I'll just, you know, dazzle a cloth on the tank.
Yeah, we
just
make
give it
an
a buff.
afternoon out of it. He cleans the bikes and I chill. So
I like that.
Win-win.
I think we're
I
gonna have
don't
to
see
use
an issue.
no,
that.
all joking aside, I'm very grateful because I think it's one of those things you either love or you hate doing.
Yeah.
And it's I like hoovering. That's great. That's my thing. I love hoovering. I'm a weirdo. He likes cleaning
You
bikes.
hoover your
so-
bike.
No, but what I'm
Just
saying is
checking,
I would
just
absolutely, like, you know, when people are, oh, I've got to do housework. I love doing that. So I'm happy to compromise. Like, that's fine. But no, I'm very lucky. I've got a very well kept shiny bike, and yeah, I'm not going to lie. I've never cleaned it. Once.
Yeah, I clean my bike.
Do you?
Not very
Yeah.
much. No, I don't clean my bike. I don't clean my bike. I don't clean my house. I don't do the cooking. I don't do anything. I'm a very, very, very lucky person.
You really are. I'm moving in. I tell you, that's fantastic.
Oh, to be fair, if I cleaned my bike, Steve would be there behind me with a white glove and telling me I weren't doing it right anyway. So let's face it, come on. He'd probably film me whilst doing it so that he could show everybody.
No, that's not right.
Yeah,
That's
what
not
I
right.
actually
He
do.
should be
Don't
teaching
lie.
you.
You know him.
I do.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know how to do it. I don't have a dog and bark myself.
Ooh.
I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing,
I'm the
Kay.
same. I'd do it wrong. I'd use fairy liquid and some hot water and a
Exactly.
sponge. That's clean. That's
Exactly.
done.
No, but you
Yeah.
know what? Magically, my bike gets clean, but the bike cover never goes on. So the bike cover always goes on for his bike, but never my bike. So by the time I notice and I go in the garden to put my bike cover on, it's already chucked it down and my bike's already wet. So why even bother? Why even bother? So I just turn straight back around, 360, back in the house. But yeah, so I mean, I suppose we do sometimes make an afternoon of it. Although I have been a bit lazy recently, none of us have cleaned our bike. So as soon as we go for a ride, off it goes. I have to admit though, sometimes he doesn't ride as much as I do. He is definitely a fair weather rider. I'm not a fair weather rider, so I will go out in the cold as long as it's dry. You know,
Yes.
I don't mind a bit of wind. I'll go on the bike. I'll go at night as well. Sometimes I love my midnight rides. So sometimes I'll just take the bike out on a weekend, maybe 12 o'clock at night, and just go down the A46 in Leicester. And there's a couple of roads that I do from Leicester towards Kibworth, and just do a couple of roads and come back. But I'm a bit lazy when it comes to cleaning the bikes. But like I said, you know, there's magic fairies inside the house. There doesn't need to be any near the bikes.
I wish I had a magic fairy, I tell you.
No, I've got my magic fairy who's just been staring at me through the glass in the window. Like, shit.
I think he heard fairy liquid and that was it. He was like, nah.
No, I think he heard I don't have a dog and bark myself. That was probably more the issue.
I probably wouldn't have repeated that, but that's fine. No, in all honesty, and this is one thing that I've always kind of struggled with all bikers, you know, male, female, whatever, is they will teach you the CBT. They'll teach you your test. They'll teach you how to ride a bike. Great. They don't teach you how to maintain it. They don't teach you how to wash it. They don't teach you how to look after a bike. They just kind of say, right, there's your bike. Goodbye. See you later. And oh, for God's sake, hang on, let's look at these comments. Did he have marigolds? You've done it now. He's going on strike. Your fella's going on strike. You got no chance.
He won't.
I think someone's scared off my son because he logged on for almost a couple of minutes. And
it's just Zainab, and then all of a sudden he's gone.
He's gone.
Yeah, I did see that actually, didn't he? Oh, okay, yeah, he's gone. Right, that's fair enough. That's fine.
Yeah.
But no, just going back to that point quickly. A clean bike is a safe bike. Now, I know it's not necessarily the reason why we have bikes, and this is my personal hobby, so I'm going to go into it a little bit of detail anyway. But by looking over your bike, you'll learn, you'll understand, you'll see what needs to be done and what needs to be maintained. Now, I know that you've got your magic fairies. I'm very pleased for you all, but it would be very, very beneficial for yourselves, or for any people watching at the moment. You know, it doesn't matter if you're male or female or whatever, or it doesn't matter how experienced you are. For God's sake, he's got his marigolds. Steve, it's a step down from the mankini, so I'm happy with that. That's fine. Yeah, no, in all honesty, it would be good to have a look at some sort of basic maintenance or basic cleaning classes that may be out there. Now, I'm actually going to start doing some of them anyway. I've actually got one tomorrow for a basic maintenance course of giving you an understanding of when brakes need changing, when tyres, and what the reason why things need changing or anything like that. So, that's something I want to try and make people more aware of, is how to look after your bikes in the meantime, because riding a bike is one thing, but it's not like a car. You know, you can drive a car, you can put it on the driveway and then forget about it. You know, it's there, it's going to be there in the morning, it'd be absolutely fine, but it's dirty. Because a bike is so exposed, there is so much that can clog up and so much can get in there and that sort of thing. Now, as some of you know, I am a motorbike valeter anyway, so I see a lot of different states of bikes, and I can tell you now, and I hate to ruin it for you, there is no magic fairy. There is no magic fairy out there that cleans these bikes. So someone's doing the hard work for you.
You're going to go and tell the kids that there's no tooth fairy next.
We're live. Don't say that.
And Santa's not real, yeah?
I've just put a tooth under the pillow, so don't say that. I hope they'll get me a pound in the morning or whatever it is.
No, to be honest, like, if learning about how to like clean the chain and stuff like that, Steve does do it all, but there are times where he will do it and I will just sit there and watch him do it. So it's not like, oh God. Sorry, I'm just...
Oh, you've got some explaining to do, girl. Oh, no. He's doing that for you as well. Now I've got the job of explaining.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, see, that's exactly what I mean. I don't have a dog and I don't want
It was just an example. It's not real. It was just an
yeah,
I know
example.
they
I'm
are
just
real.
saying,
They are real.
you,
Don't do that. Don't make it
exactly,
worse.
exactly. Oh my God, what you started here, James.
There is a
Don't blame
company out
me.
there. There is a company out there. I was just looking on my Instagram because I have followed them for a while. They call the Machine Shop, and they do sometimes do subscriptions, and they do like bike maintenance. I've unfortunately not been able to get out to one of their workshops, and they're not that too far from me either. But the time I've noticed
What are
is
you
not.
doing tomorrow?
Tomorrow is I'm working. I work full time, unfortunately.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm actually running a basic maintenance course tomorrow from the machine shop in Hinckley, which is amazing.
No way!
I actually
Exactly.
am.
I've been trying to. I mean, I follow them rigorously on Insta, and I'm trying to make out to them. But the times they do it is when, unfortunately, I'm not available to attend. I don't mind taking a day off from work and that, but it always seems to
Oh, no,
clash
no.
with whenever I've got hearings and stuff like that. So I can't really say to the judge, "Yo, judge, sorry, mate, but." Off I go for my bike
Please tell me you'd
maintenance.
actually say it like that. That's amazing. Yo,
Sorry,
judge, yo.
mate.
I got
Yo.
This
bollocking
shisha
from
in
the
hand,
judge.
you know.
I got bollocking from the judge today just because I turned around and said, "Oh, that date doesn't suit my calendar because I got another hearing," and the judge gave me a bollocking for that. So if I was to turn around and say, "Oh, I need to go off for my motorbike," I don't think it would go down any nicely.
Just put your glasses on
So
and walk away
it's
like,
just
peace, judge.
yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. It's not Suits. It's not American TV, unfortunately. We
No, I
can't
know.
do that. But yeah, the machine workshop, I do follow them. But you know what, James? If that's something that you're going to do regular, I don't suppose you can do like a weekend, Saturday or a Sunday where we could get out because I don't work on the weekends and stuff.
Of course. I
That'd
mean,
be quite nice. But
this one
I'd love
tomorrow
to
is
do that.
literally the first one that we're doing. So it's going to be a tester. It's going to be a case of, right, is everyone understanding it? Is it beneficial for everyone? And based on the feedback we get, we'll hopefully arrange another one or two or many other ones. So yes, that's good that there's a good call for that side of things. Right, let's have a look. We have covered so much tonight. It's incredible.
Because we're women.
What's this? Dale's cleaning products are what? So advanced they print out a bike status report when you finished. So yes, there's many different cleaning products out there. We are not going to mention individual products because we'll be here all night. Right. Okay. So, right, let's have a look and see what sort of plans have you got for this year. Have you got any big trips lined up? Any sort of tours? Any camping holidays? Is it something you enjoy? Laura, let's start with you, my lovely. What sort of trips have you got lined up for this year?
We've got nothing set in stone, but we want to do some of the like BSBs that are a little bit further away and camp, take the bikes. We've also spoken about you said going down to Bournemouth, Zainab, like we want to go and do a nice long distance beach stay over somewhere, not motorway, sorry, not going to happen, but like back roads.
Don't do motorways.
Don't do motorways. Yeah, so just like make, some nice long weekends, and it's going to be for both of us the first time that, taking the bikes away. So just, it's all new, but we've done, we're quite lucky, aren't we? We've got quite a lot of we've got Silverstone and stuff on your doorstep, but some of the ones that are a little bit further afield, there's some really nice rides. So it'd be nice to get some of those in, work permitting, and try and cover up some of those.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, what about yourself? I know you've got a couple lined up, haven't you?
Yeah, can't wait. No, so start of May we have something that I'm not allowed to mention, apparently. It's a surprise. But that's the start of May. And then middle of May, we've got the Motorrevs Elan Valley weekend, which is like 2 nights, Elan Valley camping. I feel like I'm getting a bit too old for camping, I'm not going to lie. Sleeping on an airbed and then trying to get up in the morning is ridiculous. And then later on in the year, in July, I've got the Wild Bad weekend as well, which is again just another couple of nights camping. You do the ride out on the Friday, and then a couple of nights, but that's basically just an excuse to get drunk and listen to some music, really.
Sounds good.
And then and then potentially Vernwy with the Motor Revers again, because it's usually falls in September, and September, that smack bang in the middle of September, is my birthday. And Steve said that he didn't know whether we should go over my birthday or not, because whether we should spend it with the kids and stuff. Not that they give a shite, but but yeah, I also want to try and get out at some point with Two Wheel Bikers, because I'm part of that group as well, and haven't been able to get out with them. And I actually haven't been out with this group called Midlands Motorbikes.
Never heard of them. Never heard of them.
No, to be fair, I haven't really been out with them, so no, I'm only joking. No, I'd like to get out on a ride out as well.
We'd love to have you. We'd love to have you. Everyone is welcome on our rides, and we cater for all riders. I mean, our slogan is...
I have been on one.
You have, right at the very beginning when I first met you two.
Right
that was,
at the start,
where was that? That was Wales, wasn't it? That was Crossgates Newtown Road as well.
Yes, yeah.
I remember that well, actually, because that was on the Yamaha Tracer, I want to say.
I think it was on the Tracer, actually.
God, look at that. It's all up here, isn't it? That's good.
Yeah, I think it was the Tracer that we were on.
No, honestly, we would love to have you. And that goes for all of you, of course, and anyone watching as well. We'd always welcome anyone. Carts Wheels has just confirmed that. Newtown. Thanks, mate. And of course, it looks like everyone's welcoming you as well, which is fantastic. Zainab, what about yourself? What have you got to look forward to this year?
We've got 5 family weddings this year.
Wow.
Shoot me now. Shoot me
wow.
Now. Honestly, I'm so cheesed off.
Big weddings,
everyone.
aren't they?
Our weddings are bloody massive.
Yeah.
And I just fell ill on one of them because I spent a whole week off work it's all the feeding and the cooking and the cleaning one has to do. But I am a bit cheesed off. But what I have said to hubby is, so I've got a calendar up on the wall in my office, marked out all the weddings, and all the weekends I've warned my children. I've said to my daughter, you can sod off to your dad's for that weekend because I really want to go for a ride. I said, off you go, toodaloo. She normally goes almost every other weekend anyway, but sometimes she does tend to stay home. So I've warned her. She's been placed on notice that she's going to have to go do one to her dad's while I go off on a ride. But what I've said to hubby is I'm now in a position where I really want to go abroad, because before what was putting me off was the bikes, the confidence on a bike and not being able, because I do long rides. I've done loads of them now, and I tend not to have that many stops anyway. I tend to ride a lot longer than the husband does. He tends to stop a lot more than I do, actually.
Bloody men.
Tell me about it, for various reasons. He's always complaining his hand hurting, but mine lasts a lot longer. But I'm used to that. So I really, really want to try and get a weekend in, but I don't like to plan. And this is something outside of motorbiking, but my life is full of obstacles. I've been through a lot of challenges, whether it's my family life, my children, my career, and so on. So every time I plan, it's a given that my plans don't ever happen. So I'm one of those that I will wake up one morning and I'll just say to husband, can we go this weekend? Can we just go? So I have said to the hubby, please, can we put a trip abroad in the calendar this year? So I really, really want to try and do that. The only issue we have is we carry more of our shisha equipment, which is the water pipe, than we do our clothing. So for those who don't know what shisha is, it's that water pipe. It's not a bong. Please.
It's a bong. I was just saying it's a bong.
It's a bong.
It's not a bong. It's not a bong. So every journey we've done where we've had to stay over, we don't trust the shisha places there. So we end up splitting up the whole equipment of the shisha itself, and we take it with us. So we don't take that much clothing than we do the flavour, the coal burner, the coals, for
so
stuff
that's
like that.
Priority over clothing, over
that's priority over the clothing.
You've got it set, haven't you? That's amazing.
Yeah. So the hubby warned me. He said, well, if you want to do one trip abroad, you're gonna have to choose a place where the shisha is top notch, that we don't have to go. So what I really want to do is just some random ad hoc trips on the weekend, maybe Skeggy Wells again, maybe a different route into Bournemouth because that other one was boring. And I
Don't
agree
do
with
motorway.
Thomas. Don't do motorway, absolutely. But I agree with what Thomas has said. People go years without going abroad, and I think I'm now. I mean, I'm coming up to my eight years of riding now, and I really, really want to go abroad now. And now I'm at the level, confidence-wise, bike-wise, I should be okay on the road. So I really want to do that. So who knows? If it's not written in the stars this year, then maybe next year.
There's always next year.
But
Absolutely.
I'm not going to
Yeah.
compromise the shisha. The shisha's coming with us. So we're gonna have to
Priorities. I like that.
some back.
I'm
I mean,
going
I could show you
forward.
some. I could show you some photos with me and us with our gear, backpacks and the tank bags with all of our stuff shoved in.
Do you like have a flip up helmet so as you're riding along you can go like on the shisha and you?
You got the flip up helmet. I don't. But you know what? They did comment. There's actually a car shisha. You actually put it when your drinks go in the
I've
car.
actually seen that.
And
Yeah.
you can take a smoke. So I asked my kids, I said, it's only 30 quid. Will someone buy it for me? And they turned around and said no. They said, so you'll have to buy it yourself. So it's on order. It's on order at the moment. But it's one of those things that you don't really want to be doing it when you're driving or when you're riding. You need to be chilling in a social
No, you shouldn't have a
setting.
bong when you're driving. No, definitely not.
No, it's a bong wannabe.
The bong wannabe, I like that. No, in all honesty, if you haven't rode abroad, it is phenomenal. It is fantastic. It's so nice to see. Again, seeing different cultures, seeing different places. The road conditions are so much better abroad. Germany is incredible. France, I use that as a kind of a sweep through. I mean, I've done the Black Forest tour in Germany.
Wow.
It's incredible. And you know what? You mentioned about confidence and building your confidence up. Once you're over there, it takes 4 or 5 minutes to adjust to being on the other side of the road. That's it, honestly. And then you are free sailing. It is beautiful.
I mean, I've driven abroad, and I think that's something
brilliant.
that will help me. That will help my confidence. I mean, I've driven in France quite a bit and Spain, Portugal. So for me, the driving element, I've got that nailed. It's the bike. It's the position of the bike, the height, the roads. Can I put my foot down? Can I put my side stand down? Can I lift the bike as well? It's not just about putting the bike down and setting it down, but can I lift it? Because 1100 is quite heavy. But if you can ride in England, mate, you can ride as far as I'm concerned anywhere.
Listen, if you ever come to Coventry, if you can do the Coventry Ring Road, you're set for life. All right? The Coventry Ring Road is appalling.
If you can ride on the Coventry Ring Road, you can ride bloody
Well,
anywhere.
I've been writing down all the roads that people have been writing, and some people have put on like the gloves and stuff like that. So I've been writing it down. So I'm going to put down Coventry Ring Road now.
No, don't do it.
I mean,
honestly, I'd rather do
it's not the
Stelvio
best
Pass
in a
than
car.
Coventry Ring
Death
Road.
trap.
It really is. I'm going to have to experience that now, honestly. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been in Leicester, but
it's
there's
the people that don't know how to use it.
So
Exactly.
it's a bit like Port Pie Roundabout in Leicester. A lot of people.
I did that on my bike test. My bike instructor decided to take me down to Port Pie Roundabout, and I was like, where the bloody hell do I go? What's going on?
But because I'm used to that road on my car, I can nail that. But there's one road that you ought to try. Well, the roundabouts is Colchester, just near Essex University. You've never seen a round. They are not even roundabouts. They are ridiculous. I don't even know what they're called, but you can easily Google it. It's really, really close to Essex University, and there's like one here, and there's like one there. And it's not even, they're not even round. They're probably square bouts rather than roundabouts. And that, I still need to master that. I've not mastered that because I almost crashed my car the other day when I went to pick my son up from uni.
Brilliant.
And it's ridiculous. I need to learn to master that. So let me master that one, then I'll come to Coventry. Yeah, I was just saying that, yeah.
We've had a
they're pretty level pegging the two, to be fair.
Oh,
I've done both. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Motovlog is asking what is a pork pie roundabout. I do not know why it's called a pork pie roundabout, but it's a horrible roundabout in Leicester, which is known as pork pie, and a lot of people have actually failed their test on it, and it's really close to the DVLA test centre as well. So it's a given. it's a given that people are going to be taken on that road, and so many people have failed because of that roundabout. It's just ridiculously marked.
Yeah.
It's just really silly. But once you master it, then it's fine.
No, there you go.
Thomas says, "Don't put yourself on the bike
Well-
through riding on the country."
God, I'm building up this impression that Coventry is so bad. I mean, it is, but you know, it's, think about the ring road, and I know it's a complete tangent, but we'll just discuss it for a second. It defies all logic. Like, you know, to just go around the ring road, you'd have to go on the outside lane to bypass it, and then if you're coming off, you go on the inside lane to come. It's like,
I think it makes sense. I think it genuinely makes sense.
It does to me and you, because we are normal people, but people who live in
If
Coventry
people don't freaking use it properly, it drives me insane. They're in that lane, and I'm like, "You getting off then, are ya?" And they just carry on, and I'm like, "We're in the wrong freaking lane." Like,
It's not us, Kate, it's them, isn't it? It's always
It's them.
them. It's
Steve
never
knows
us.
me
Survival
all
of the
the
fittest.
time.
It's survival of the fittest, that ring road.
Yeah, Steve says I've got really bad road rage, and to be fair,
No,
I
I
always
won't
say
believe
I
that.
haven't got bad road rage. It's just I can't stand shit drivers. That's my issue. If they learn how to drive, I wouldn't have a problem, but they don't, and they think that it's okay for them to drive around like a ball bag, but it isn't. There you go, rant over. Sorry about that.
No, carry on. It's
Off the
brilliant.
chest.
This is fantastic. Someone saying, what's that saying? Sent to Coventry, and also Nottingham is apparently is pothole central. Oh God, potholes, they're crazy. This is one thing I don't get about the UK and the pothole side of things. Like, if there's a pothole here in the UK, right, they'll come along with a bucket and some sand, and they'll just fill it and go, that'll do. And then they walk away. And then 3 seconds later, it's the same pothole. You go to somewhere like Germany, and there's one small little pothole that's appeared. They go, oh no. And then they resurface the whole bloody road. It's like, what, you know, it's completely different. It's ridiculous.
There's a story about a pothole. And if there are any beginners on this show tonight, do not do what I did. So as a new beginner, as a learner, when I had my 1-5, me, hubby, and a friend of ours, we went out for a bit of a ride, and not knowing what the motorbike signals mean, what bikers signal to one another, our friend at the front decided to signal, and he's trying to signal to me that there's a pothole at the bottom. But
what was the signal? What was the signal?
It was just pointing. It was just pointing down.
So
it was just pointing down. Yeah, just pointing down. I obviously didn't recognize it. And what do I go and do? I thought, oh, okay, he's telling me to ride that section.
No.
Yes. So what do I do? I maneuver from where I was on the left-hand side of the road, a bit more to the right-hand side of the road, straight onto the pothole, straight off the pothole. And he literally stops in the middle of the road, and he turns around, and you can, had he not been wearing that helmet, I would have known he was giving me the most dirtiest side eye ever, because I did exactly what he told me not to. But he wasn't clear. He was just pointing at it. I didn't know what it meant. So now whenever someone points at it, I ignore it. And I just do my own riding.
I mean, I wouldn't ignore it, but it's good that you do your own riding. That's one thing I will say from that is, you know, when people will give you signals, people will say things, there may be even cars that are flashing you or whatever. Ride your own ride. Never follow the person in front of you, whether it's a car, a bike, or anything like that. Always ride your own ride. And this goes to anyone that's watching at the moment, because there's so many times I've seen it where group rides, for example, you'd be following someone who maybe is a fantastic rider. They go for the overtake. You think, well, if he's gone, I'll go. No, never, ever, ever do that. It is the most dangerous thing you can do. Always ride your own ride. What are you laughing at?
I was laughing at the potholes are made specifically for GS riders so they can say they've been off road.
James, tell us you don't ride a DS.
I won't tell you. I'm just gonna.
Yes, he does.
I do ride a GS. I'm a proud GS owner. Do you know what? They are amazing bikes. And what can I say? We all find bikes for our own reasons. The bike fits me. It's loud. It's obnoxious. It's me as a bike. So fantastic.
Oh God, here we go.
Yeah. Oh God, what's this? Anticipation is key. That's a really, really good point, actually, and that goes for anyone in biking in general. observations, anticipation, understanding what's in front of you, and just reading the road as best you can. If
That's the
anyone
hubby.
gets a chance, oh, go on.
That's the hubby, by the way. He's giving.
Oh, hello,
me a
hubby.
hint.
I've met
He's
the whole
giving me
family
a,
tonight. This is fantastic. This is great.
he's basically giving me a hint that I need to anticipate the road a bit more. Is what he's saying.
Maybe so. But do you know what? I would highly recommend any sort of advanced training, whether it's a bike safe course, a ROSPA course, or a IAMS course, or whatever it may be. Any sort of advanced riding is fantastic, because the motorcycle schools nowadays are brilliant. Don't get me wrong. They will teach you to pass your test. Then you pass your test, you get on the bike, and then you learn to ride, because that is completely different. There's training school life, and then there's actual bike life, and actually experience it on the road. Any advanced training you can do is highly recommended. It's not too expensive. It will open your eyes to any sort of observations that you may have missed or may not have been taught in your normal riding. I've done the ROSPA, so that's one thing I can say personally.
Might have some coming up, but you never know.
May have what, sorry?
Might have some riding coming up. You never know. You know, like some advanced courses, or you don't know, do you? You don't know what the future holds.
No, exactly. But if you do get a chance to even experience it, please do, because it is fantastic. Oh, hang on. What's this here? Why do motorbikes not have seatbelts?
That's my son. That's one of the twins asking that question.
It's Zainab's instructor. Why don't they have seatbelts? Go on. Why? Why don't we have seatbelts, girls?
Because if you fall off, you do not want to be strapped to that bike.
Exactly.
When me and Steve came off the twin, you'd never seen someone, like, as the bike's going, you never seen someone go like this. Me on the bike, this is me, right? This is the bike going like this, and then me going before it hit the floor. Like, honestly, there was not a chance I was getting my leg stuck under that. And everyone was like, "Oh, are you okay?" And I was just there on the floor like this. And they're like, we'd stopped. So it was literally, we'd stopped, and there was a camber on the side, and Steve went to put his foot down and just kind of missed. But as he was going like this, I was like, "Abandon ship," kind of jumped off. And then,
brilliant.
And then I was just laying on the floor like this, and they all come over and they were like, "You okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think so, yeah." Because they were like, "I've never seen someone just jump off a bike like that before." We've never dropped a twin. You lies.
The reason why my husband has said it's Zainab's instructor is because you mentioned, James, about instructors. And where I am in Leicester, there's a very, very, very famous instructing company. Everyone tends to go to them because it's so well known. And when I went, I unfortunately had a very horrible time. Some of them were really lovely, but what they actually did to me was they gave me one of their bikes. And I think it was the YBF 125, which are quite big, quite heavy. They gave it to me and they said, "Here's the brakes, here's the gears, 1 down, 5 up, A to B, and off you go." Right now, that wasn't going to work for me.
No,
so when I actually got on the bike, I couldn't do it. I obviously dropped the bike. We spent hours trying to get me on the road. Couldn't do it. So in the end, I just literally did the theory and couldn't come out of the training center. And that really shattered my confidence. And what they turned around, and one of them actually said to me that they've had shorter people than me. So they know that they can, if they could do it, I can do it. But the way they were teaching me was not suited to my teaching style. So that afternoon, me and hubby, Samir, we went off and we started looking for bikes. And within a week, I bought my own bike, and it was the Sinus 125, which is a really, really heavy. It's a British make, Chinese parts, chrome filled, very, very heavy. And hubby, bless him, as my instructor, took me out. So he rode it into one of the private car parks in Leicester. I'm not going to say which one because I don't want to let anyone get into trouble and get them booted out. But we went there, and what hubby would do was he'd sit with it. So I'd get on the bike. He'd tell me how to maneuver, and he would only tell me to go small areas, and he would run behind me. I kid you not, he would run behind me. So if I was about to go down, he could literally catch the bike. And that's how he taught me. It was space by space. It was square by square. And he would keep teaching me in that private car park space. And it's a very long story, so I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of it. But I went back to that training center because I didn't know anybody else. They weren't happy with the bike itself. Whatever they made an excuse, sent me back out. went back in the third way around, and eventually I got my CBT. But then I spoke to someone in JNS, and JNS told me about a private instructor. And I went to him, and I kid you not, I've never turned around from him. I've never turned away. I sent so many of my people that I know. My son's been there. My brother-in-laws have been there. His riding style. So for anyone who's not a rider or has got family members or friends who want to go ride, just because there's a famous company or someone who's well known, it doesn't mean that their riding style or the teaching style is going to be more suited. Go where you feel you're going to be comfortable, have no issues walking away. And I walked away, and it was the best decision I ever made. And you'd think that wouldn't be a big deal when it came to motorbiking, but it really did shatter my confidence. And it was right in the early stages. And had it not been for my husband's support, I probably would have given up the reins of learning to ride a motorbike. I had a huge amount of support from him, would not have been able to do it without him. So,
Nice.
I do appreciate that. So if he's still in the show and he's listening, there you go. I'm not going to sell your services anymore.
Shout out to the hero there. That's fantastic to see. That's nice.
Yeah.
And that's good though, because as you quite rightly say, there is so many different learning styles that everyone's different. And again, I know it's motorbiking women this evening, but everyone, male, female, different cultures, we've all got different mentalities of how we learn things, how we pick things up. Some of us are very hands-on, some of us are very theory-based. So it's good that you found that particular person. Laura, out of interest, when you were learning to ride your bike, did you have any issues or anything when you were learning? Did you kind of just take to it? Did you find that the school you went to was quite suitable for yourself and your learning? How was it for you when you were learning? It's just like, nah.
No. As I say, I just knocked over on CBTs for years, and so when I decided to do my full license when the time was right, I went to a riding school that was close to where I was living at the time. You look at the reviews and you're like, oh yeah, this, let's sound. And don't get me wrong, there wasn't anything particularly wrong. I just wasn't getting what I personally needed. Everybody's got different styles. Everyone's got different teaching styles.
Yep.
And for me, I really struggled. And then when I failed that mod 1, that really knocked my confidence, because in my world, I wasn't going in fresh. I wasn't, it wasn't like it was my first time on a bike or anything like that. So I'm thinking, well, what's gone wrong here? So it really knocked my confidence. And it took me, I even think even without COVID, it would have taken me a long time to build myself up to do it again, because I didn't want to fail again. I didn't want that disappointment. So then I changed to another, and best thing I've ever done.
Okay.
The whole style, the whole atmosphere, the way I felt when I was learning, it was just so much more relaxed, and it took the pressure off. And they taught me in a way that I responded really well to and got me through it first time. So I think you have to find the right fit. I think you can have some people that go to one riding school and they do really well and they fly through, but it doesn't mean it's going to be good for the other 10 people who might get on better somewhere else.
Absolutely. No,
and I think that's the importance of the CBT as well. I think you do that day on your CBT, you can get a feel just over one day before you commit that time and money into your full direct access. So CBT, get through it. If they've been a good fit for you and that's worked well, brilliant, do your course them. If not, maybe just have a little look around before you commit to it.
Yeah.
No,
absolutely.
I did my CBT twice through the same company, and this is a company that Steve did all of his through as well. So I did mine, and they, to be honest with you, I couldn't fault them at all. They're from obviously the area that I live, but I know loads of people that have done them through there, and I always recommend them. My brother my brother's actually got his mod 2 on Friday this week.
Excellent, brilliant. Best of luck to him.
And yeah, he's actually got a bike already. He's got a Kawasaki Ninja.
Yes.
But he's waiting to be able to ride it. It's gorgeous, the bike is, but he's waiting to be able to ride it, and because of the snow, it got delayed. So he's done his mod 1 now, and he's just literally waiting to do his mod 2. But yeah, I said to him, do it through this company, and he's done it. And like I said, they're a great like company to do it through as well. So, and they're really, really helpful, and there's quite a few different like instructors and stuff, and they're all really friendly. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Finding someone that is good for you, because it may not be right for everybody else. But the company that I found was perfect for me. They built my confidence. you know, I dropped their bike twice. You know, once I broke the foot peg off, snapped the foot peg off, and he couldn't fix it. And then and then another time that I dropped it, I snapped the clutch lever. So.
But that's all part of learning, and this is what schools are prepared for. And if they allow you to make those mistakes, that's how we learn. That's great that
I've seen people
schools out there
put on Facebook groups that people have like that they've gone to one company and dropped the bike, and then they've sent them an invoice for the damages, you know, and stuff like that. And I'm like, how the hell? I thought they were insured for all that. I thought that's what the whole point was. But I mean, they obviously didn't ask me anything about that.
No, I've had to actually pay for a damage. I did what's it called? Where you fixate
target fixation.
Target fixation, that's it. And then you go straight into them. So I target fixated on a wall, and I went straight into that wall, and that's when I actually learned about target fixation, and I damaged the indicator. But I had to pay 60 or 70
pounds
for
okay?
it. I was okay. I was touch wood okay. I've been damaged worse than that afterwards. So I've crashed, like I said, so many times. I've damaged my left leg crashing with the bike's gone on top of me, and the worst ever black eyes you've ever seen on someone. And I've straight gone back on the bike again and carried on riding as long as the bike has been
back on the horse, as they say. Fair play.
Yeah, absolutely. But I've had to pay the 60 quid, and I did point that out. He said, oh, hold on, isn't that what insurance is there for? And isn't that what I'm paying a little bit extra for? And he turned around and he said he doesn't want to make a claim on it. He can easily go get the spare part and put it on. And all I was paying for was the part as opposed to the labour. And I thought, you know what, just pay it. So I just ended up paying it. I'm not going to argue.
I disagree with that personally.
I think I'd have spat my dummy out at that point.
No, I just, you know what, it got to the point where I was so frustrated with myself, with the bikes, and the whole learning process. My learning process was not enjoyable at all. Really? But the only reason why I did carry on was when I dropped that bike the first time round, the only thought that went through my head was, well, hold on. You know, who the hell says I can't ride this bike? Just because I'm short doesn't mean I can't do this. It kind of became like a challenge for myself, that the only thing that's going to stop me is myself, and I'm not ready to give it in. So I'm going to carry on. And, you know, like I said to you at the start, I've had a lot of hate from very close family members. And I've carried on, and it's been the best thing ever. Best thing ever. So I always say that I will carry on riding until God takes away my hands and my feet, and even then I will try and modify those bikes to get back on. So as long as I've got a little bit of dough in my pocket, I'm gonna try my best to get bikes modified. But touch wood, I hope I never get there. But you know, bike is life, isn't it?
There you go. That's a biker through and through, ladies and gents. I like that. Right, we are going to start winding it up. Do we have any further questions from anyone that's watching? Anything that anybody wants to ask either a specific person or to the group themselves? Do we have anything that they want to know, understand, learn? Do we want to sign Zainab up to writing that book that we all want her to write? Because I think she's got so many stories to tell. It's incredible.
Loads. I've got loads. The Fast and Furious franchise is nothing, but this is just a motorbike. This is just a motorbiking element. I'm a solicitor by day. I do a lot of volunteering for mentoring students and graduates and all of that. So I've got lots of stories everywhere. And I talk for England, James.
No,
man, I
won't have that said.
So yeah,
well, it's good. It's great to have you on. Honestly, it is, and it goes for everyone. You know, it's great to have such a varied amount of experience from people riding for so long to someone that's relatively new. You know, the different bikes that we ride, the different experiences and groups and everything. It's really great, and it's nice to see that kind of cross section of lady riders. And of course, there was you know, another 100 ladies I could have invited on, but it was nice to get, you know, you three involved.
You got the best. It's fine.
Well, you know, I don't mean to brag, but we only choose the best, don't we? Let's be honest.
I do have a question that Moist Decoy actually asked me earlier because he's on nights tonight, so he couldn't join.
Okay, go for it.
But I think, to be honest with you, I think we've pretty much covered it, but I just wanted him to know that I have read out his question.
Go on.
He says, what has been the most difficult thing to overcome or deal with, if any, since you've passed your test or got your bigger bike?
And that's apart from this particular live stream.
Yeah. I think we've basically covered most of it anyway. But yeah, and then the next thing was, where do you keep your makeup?
Wow. Next to the shisha, apparently, is where.
Yeah,
that-
next to bong.
I was
Bong
actually going to
wannabe.
say, I very quickly learned not to wear makeup with the helmet because you don't want to see the
Yes.
inside of my helmet.
I
It's
couldn't
just,
care less. Mine's full of it, but I don't care.
yeah.
Do you know what?
It's
It's just,
mine, and
Think
it's only
about
going
that.
on my face.
you know,
Do
the
you
Only
genuinely
going
moment
on
not
my
put
face.
makeup there?
the moment you put it on, you know you're gonna have a streak that you've taken off, taken up. So yeah, you just don't do the makeup anymore.
That's
If
what semi-permanent makeup's for. It doesn't come off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See, if I don't put
exactly.
makeup on, I'll ride up to a group or something. I'll look like a bloke anyway because I'm wearing like bloke's clothing because I don't really like pink. So I'm wearing like the bloke clothing thing. And if I took off my helmet and I didn't have any makeup on, I'd just look like a man with long hair. So I have
Bless
to
you.
put makeup
No,
on.
you don't. No,
Otherwise,
you
I'm
don't.
not gonna look. I don't want to look like a man with long hair.
No, you
So I go,
don't.
oh, look, that rock dude over there, and I just go, oh, yeah, it's the
Girls,
girl.
listen, it's been amazing tonight. It really has. But we are getting to the 2-hour time limit that I've set tonight. But
Got 10 seconds. We're going to be cut off.
I know I could talk to you all the time. But listen, thank you very much for your time tonight. It's been absolutely fantastic. And I'm sure everyone will follow you on Instagram and everything. But guys, thank you very much. I'll speak to you
Thank you
soon.
so much.
Thanks for
Thanks,
having us.
everyone. Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Point here. There we go.
Go follow everyone. Go follow.
Thanks, Meg. Jason.Microchick.
All right.
Bye.
Take care,
See you
guys.
later.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And there we go, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. It's been absolutely fantastic tonight. The girls have been brilliant. What can I say? Any other questions or anything, please pop them in the chat. I'm sure they'd love to answer them there onwards. It's been great having so many people involved, and the comments have been going absolutely crazy. But guys, girls, thank you very much for watching, and we'll hopefully see you next time. Take care, guys and girls. Ride safe.